Hey, True Believers England team here, and we're doing a little We've Got Issues on Thursday night. We might get more topical on Thursday, talking about the stories. So I'm here with Evil Black Cat, who is taking up my Under the Bridge job.
What is up, people?
And we have the real Dr. VENKMAN, except no substitutes.
What's up?
Dominic, the comic whiz Powell.
Good evening, everybody.
There you go. And of course, we have Ash on Comics, the Ash on Comics with the awesome unnamed independent show. So, hello to you, sir.
I love comics.
Good to That's be here. Right. There you go. That's why we're here.
I just want to say, unnamed indie show. Your name should be unnamed too, as well.
The unknown indie show host. And hello to everybody in the chat. Not so many right now, but hopefully that'll pick up. Maranya's in the house. Yellows, Spider-Man, Face Front, True Believers. I remember that would greet me every Saturday morning, right before the Incredible Hulk and Fantastic Four made me believe that there was a robot on its channel.
Hey, your buddy's in the chat, All-American Jack.
Hey, I know. I couldn't get his. I was like, oh, you know, the All-American Jack. Oh, God dang it. It's Almighty Jack. So I wanted to talk about something. I wanted to talk about, I heard this, I saw this this post by the what God dang it, I can't talk, Bounding Into Comics, right? Yes. And they were talking about something Perch said. Now I was like, okay, we're going to talk about this because it's one of those things where really I'm reacting to the headline. And it was, rumor is that Marvel and DC are going to put together a new social media policy. And I know you guys have heard me joke about the fact that Thinking Critical, Wes over at Thinking Critical, and Comic Perch are looking through my videos to come up with topics. They're not really, but it kind of feels that way because everything old is new again. We've been through this, and it just blew my mind that this was going on, because in the middle of when Comicsgate, before Comicsgate was Comicsgate, we were talking about how horrible it is that the Marvel and DC writers and artists, how horrible it is that they treat people who really do love the characters, who want to buy these books, and yet because we disagree, we're Nazis, we're racist, and so forth and so on. And so DC Comics and Marvel both announced that they're going to have these new policies. As a matter of fact, if you Google new Marvel and DC social media policy, about 3 down, you'll get Purchase first, and then about 2 or 3 down, you'll see Bleeding Cool reporting about it from 2018. This is old news. This is old hat. So when I heard of this, I was like, well, fool me once. I don't think that anything that they do, anything that they say, will just be window dressing. I do not trust Marvel. I do not trust DC, or at least I don't trust the writers and the artists to go, you know what? Yeah, since there's this policy, we're going to start treating the people we think are horrible human beings better. Because remember, they don't just, oh, well, I disagree with them on politics. They honestly believe that we are not good people for the politics we keep.
It's not
I thought I would pause for comments.
And it's not the politics that we keep. It's more than what we question things. You should never question things. You're always supposed to fall in line. That's been drilled into everybody who reads comic books now.
Right.
Yeah. And this seems just like typical corporate thing. Like, oh, we had a little bit of bad PR. Quick, send out a press release that we're cleaning things up. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Until Dan Slott gets let go for all his comments, they said that Jimmy.
It's like when Twitter got caught shadow banning. Everyone was like on Rogan, and like man, that was a great time when Tim Pool exposed the crap out of him on Rogan. And they're like, oh, we're cleaning it all up. We're looking into things. We're doing things. And then nothing happened.
No, you're not. You're what they're doing is they're going on to other social media platforms to say that they're doing something to make it look like they're better.
Twitch has also got in trouble because they, well, actually not in trouble. They're going around saying, we're going to enforce new policies to help you get rid of the hate comments, the haters that watch your streams. We're gonna. It's like really.
Hold on just a sec. I'll be right back.
I hate it whenever they like come up with so like, oh, we're gonna help you censor your viewers.
We need to have new policies where people grow there.
What's up?
Well, yeah, that's my thing. We need to get rid of the safe spaces.
Oh, okay. All
yeah,
right.
we need a new amendment to the Constitution. All Americans need to.
How long are you gonna be?
I think people just need to grow a spine and just realize, you know what, you don't get everything you want.
Have fun.
Yeah.
It's world.
You do not have a right to not be offended.
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
not the way that things are going anymore.
Hey, Miss O.
I absolutely agree with you that, you know, of course, you have a right to free speech. You don't have a right to be offended, or you do have a right to be offended. You just don't have a right to have that offense affect my speech.
These are the hidden rights. It's like hidden menu on the you know, when you go to a diner. This is the ones they don't put on the menu. This is what you're supposed to know, but they won't tell you that. They want you to believe that you have no rights. You have to comply, or you are a bad person.
Yeah, and I agree with the Almighty Jack, and I've done this video more times than I actually about 4 times. I've done a video where I say, "Is Marvel Comics dead to you?" Like, is there anything that Marvel and DC can do now that would get you to go, "Oh wow, yes, I must go back to them"? Because, and I mean on any kind of regular basis. I know that I still read Daredevil, but I don't consider myself a fan of Marvel Comics anymore.
Yeah, there's something they could do. They could do what they did in the late 70s. And they hired a brilliant editor-in-chief that spent the next 10 years building up trust and fixing problems. If Marvel spent 10 years, and, you know, it's one thing to be like, hey, we're going to do this thing. No, I'm not buying it. Prove it. Prove it for a year. Prove it for 2 years, 3 years. I want to see long-term commitment. And then, okay, maybe I'll start believing. But this whole like, hey, we're gonna fix things, and it's always a little band-aid that never lasts more than 6 months, and they go right back to the crap.
Well, it seems like,
in other words, practice what you preach, and not just like say things that you want people to believe. Back it up with action.
Well, it's also like what England Team started the stream off with, like "fool me once," you know that saying? Yeah, that's the problem. Is Marvel's fooled us 15 times. Like how many times are we gonna? Okay, no, you burned all your bridges, Marvel. Like
go
ahead.
A lot of comic book readers in this particular community has gone on to look at the Indiegogo books a little bit more. I myself am, as I've always pointed out, I'm buying more and more independent comics. Actually, I find myself more excited to buy an independent comic book than I am even DC Comics. I'm a DC guy. You know, I used to live and breathe by the word of Batman. It was just, but now, I cannot. I went to the comic shop today. I was like, okay, I know I need to get the big dogs for the auction, but let me see what's on the shelf. Maybe I'll pull something down. No, I'm good. There was nothing that interests me on that shelf today. Nothing. Not one damn new book on the Marvel or DC side of things. I'm done with it.
What I got from Marvel was actually the Crossroads because Peter David, and it's actually been a pretty good story. Other than that, Marvel is slim pickings. It's Daredevil or it's Thor. You know, Black Cat and Black Widow, but those 2 books can just easily just change at a drop of a dime.
And that's sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Like, look, I got Catwoman. I got Trini Howard going on there. I'm like, well, after issue 38, I'm gone because Rambee's off the book. Mm-hmm. He's reason why I was buying because
he was doing good writing.
Yeah. So now you're gonna reward someone who's proven that they can't write and give them the book, the character, and just like. And she's talking about, I'm going to do things that Catwoman you've never seen before. I'm like, I know you were. That's why I'm dropping it.
Eloise, I've got the receipt right here. This is the shipping receipt. She asked for a tracking number, so let me get this. I may have put, like, looking up and down, I may have put the wrong number in. I'll check. I'll recheck it and everything. But yeah, that is the receipt that I got from this week's or last week's shipment. So I'll try to fix that. See what's going on. Let's see. And then we're just going, welcome, Andy. Hey, welcome, Andy. Wait, is that Black Cat again? Is that another Black Cat?
If he's insulting himself, that's even weirder.
I don't know what to do with this.
That was VENKMAN's recommendation. Like, use my two accounts and just.
Talk to you. Okay.
Well, the fact that
now you're showing the man behind the curtain, dude.
Yeah, you just gave away the trick.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
so let's get to this thing.
Knows me.
I'll just say real quick. When I say it'd be weird if you're insulting yourself and you admit it, that's a bad thing. Don't do that.
Let's get to this thing. So this is from Bounding into Comics. Now, here's the thing. Normally, I do not link to Bounding into Comics, and that's not a bad thing. The reason why I do not link to Bounding into Comics for the most part is because Bounding into Comics, for whether you like them or not, usually puts the link to the story they're talking about in there. So my thinking is, if Bounding into Comics is talking about something that Marvel said to Hollywood Reporter, then I'm not going to go to Bounding into Comics and find out what they thought about it. I'm going to go to Hollywood Reporter, read the original, so you have original thoughts coming out. And that's something I've got to say is one of the reasons why you don't see me talking about Bounding into Comics too much here. It's been brought up. Why, they went to, why don't you? This is because I think that if they offer a link, you have to go in and you got to go read it for yourself, especially if you do videos like this where you're putting in your opinion. If you read Bounding into Comics, you know their opinion. I always said this about my comment section. Like one of the things I said to Eric when he first commented, because he quoted Richard or Diversity in Comics, and I said, well, that's what he said. I want to know what you think. So that's why. So if anybody ever wonders, because that does get brought up. All righty. So they say a new rumor suggests that Disney and Warner Brothers have gotten fed up with what Marvel and DC employees respectfully are saying on social media. That is the rumor put forth by Perch of the aptly named Comics by Perch, who believes that the individual social media policies of these companies are shifting in the background and that these shifts will eventually lead to some sort of domino effect across the industry. Now, Perch asserts that. Now, also, I have not yet watched this. And I admitted to this at the very beginning of this live stream, that this is a reaction to the title of the video. I usually hate that when people do that to my videos, but this is what I've done. So I actually have not watched Perch's thing. So I do have to get out there for honesty. Perch asserts that this change is coming based on recent information shared with him by an inside Marvel source, who informed the YouTuber that both Marvel's park revenue and their contracted business agreements are down in the last 2 years. Of course, COVID shut down the park for about 6 or 7 months. And then even after that, they weren't completely open for a long time. Though these particular metrics have objectively been on a downward trajectory for quite some time, he then explains the concept of a double bump, which on the basic level refers to the concept of company laying off in 2 phases, each buffered by periods of restructuring with the reduced staff. Yeah, a lot of places do this. They'll get rid of somebody, and then if you've ever been in a business that's been downsized and you all of a sudden have more work but your pay hasn't changed, it's kind of like that. Such double bumps happen all the time and almost always take the public by surprise, with news of multi-phase layoffs inevitably giving the impression of a sluggish recovery, even if the company remains substantially profitable. All right, and we did see that in DC in 2020 when the publisher held multiple rounds of layoffs. Those decisions are believed to be corporate ones handed down directly from Warner Media and unrelated to anyone's conduct. However, Perch asserts that the wanton disregard for fan and antagonism seen from numerous creators on social media will soon change, as in the comic industry, supervisors of a leaner workforce are not ones to tolerate annoying distractions. And what is irritating, said supervisors, the most is constant online activity seen from their staff. Okay, we could talk about that one. As we've seen a lot of this. Gail Simone seems to be more of a tweeter than a writer nowadays. And you also see other creators that way. They just seems like they seem like their output of creativity has dwindled, while their output of social media posts has increased.
When was the last time Gail wrote a book?
I don't know, but
was it
the
Plastic
years?
Man?
I think.
I mean, if Donny Cates can put out like he's doing the Venom and all those things and get that and great books and still, then like I said, do your work first, then you can play. Like, you know, then you can do your homework, then you can play. Like we always said to the kids.
I mean, they can do whatever they want as far as I'm concerned.
I know,
I'm
but
just
I mean,
saying if you're going to pitch yourself as some sort of like great writer and stuff, you got to live up to it. You know, if Gail Simone wants to be professional Twitterer, fine.
Yeah, it's not just Marvel and DC. One of the things that Ethan Van Sciver has gotten criticism for, his book's incredibly late, yet he was live streaming for like 9 hours a day. Exaggeration, but that was one of the complaints. Social media can eat you up. I've actually found myself, that's why I hate getting into Twitter arguments. I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to do a video, and then I get into some stupid Twitter argument. For the next hour and a half, I wasted all that work time.
Yeah,
so, the difference is EVS, love him or hate him, he's an artist. And he just does art when he wants to, and his YouTube is his full-time job.
Yeah.
So that's what he chose to do. That's what he's known for. Like I said, I don't have a problem if Gail wanted to do that. I don't like seeing her held up as some great comics writer, though, if she's not writing comics. And she's not writing comics not because she chose to like take a sabbatical. She's not writing comics because no one wants her to write comics.
Well, my comment was more direct. The fact that if they're upset that they're not producing as much as they would be because they're fooling on Twitter. As I was saying, I don't know about Gail Simone, but I know that Donny Cates at least was putting out his work. So I mean, he'd be the example.
I'm gonna address that. Maybe I should address it here. And the problem I see right away is that they are not employees. A lot of times, like Dan Slott is not employed by Marvel Comics. He's contracted. He's a independent contractor. So unless it's in the contract that he's got to stay off social media, unless it's in the contract that says we're going to fine you if you insult fans, if you call out somebody you've never freaking talked to as a racist, you fat some. Anyway, if he does something like that, there should be if they do something like that, okay, I can see them going somewhere.
I know they're under contract, but I mean, if they're on contract that gets things done on time in a timely manner, and another things you're not meeting their part of the contract because they're based on Twitter, I can see why they're going to change their policies, you know, in the next contract that they have with them.
All right, let's see here. Miss So saying just burn out on the same characters getting stories, so many others, but more obscure characters in DC and Marvel they could be working on. Yeah, that is. And then you know what? Instead of creating a real new character, we'll do a fifth Wolverine or a seventh Batman. Yeah. Let's see. You mean they're doing real journalism? Yes, I actually, I don't always agree with bailing into comics, but I do respect the fact that they put the link in, so you yourself can check it out, and you can come up with your own opinion. I appreciate that. Let's see. Almighty Jack saying, unfortunately, the only reason any of the lesser used characters are brought in anymore is to race swap, that is true. Yeah. What I've seen of Purchase Channel, I like also. I was on there once. The Comics by Englentine has a nice ring to it. I'm
give him ideas. He's settled on a name.
Yeah, I know, right? Actually, I was thinking of renaming Old Man Comics, so Comics by Englentine. Maybe I'll go that direction. Yeah. I don't appreciate diversity because it isn't real diverse. Oh, okay. It's not the diversity; it's the tokenism that you're talking about. And I guess tokenism has been taken and coined as far as the comic book industry is concerned by young Ripa. So let's see. Vic King is the one who streams 9 to 10 hours a day. I used to, but gosh, it gets tiresome doing that. It really does. Twitter debates are only worth it when you know how to manipulate the problem with that, Rhaegar, because I'm very good at that. I used to do that with Ron Johnson of Bleeding Cool constantly. The problem with doing that, though, is because my thinking is you can't tell anyone on Twitter anything. You've got to lead them to admitting it. Like if you know your point is correct, you need them to say it. So you kind of got to work with them. But the problem with it is that people put in their own thoughts that have nothing to do with the conversation. Like if you and I are debating something, and I'll say, well, Rhaegar, and somebody will pop in, haha, you are, and they'll say nothing that has anything to do with the subject. And that generally derails the conversation. Let's see. Almighty Jack says Gail Simone has never been able to turn her work in time. I would love to see that. I want to see the old 1960s, 70s workhorses coming in. If you ever heard about how many titles Jack Kirby would write, draw, it's freaking crazy. Let's see. Miss Sose is a person in the gay community. I'm not sure how many of us there are these days, Jack, but I do know that we're still a smaller part of the overall population. Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. Making everyone buying comics is kind of silly. Yes, that is true too. And once again, I said this in the video about Superboy. The reason why they do make a character bi instead of gay is because if this doesn't go over well, they could always have Superboy start dating girls again and say, well, we didn't say he was gay. We said he was bi. This is absolute tokenism when they change a character like this. But they didn't change. I can't really say that. They didn't change John Kent. They just made him bisexual. All I got to say is Tinian created a bunch of new characters, and you complained about it. Did I know?
Clown Wager and Punchline.
You don't think they changed?
Oh my God! He made Harley Quinn a little bit. He made Harley Quinn with Punchline, and then he made the Clown Hunter. That character's lame. He also did what? The Gotham Knight, I believe, with that woman in the. I like that character.
Ghostmaker.
You know what? Wait,
Ghostmaker.
That was Tomasi.
I want to address this real quick. We got to put the brakes on this. But can we stop pretending that derivative characters has not been a thing since the beginning of comics?
Who's pretending they haven't been?
No, but I just hear lately all the time dogpiling on James Tynion. Oh, he made a character that's like another character. It's like that's how all characters are like. I mean, except for like the very originals, right? Like the they had the Fantastic Four, and then it was like, oh, Kirby came over to make Challenge of the Unknown. It's like
you can go back into the Golden Age. Most of the heroes in the Golden Age were just Batman.
Yeah, Captain America is a derivative character.
I'm just gonna say I don't like Ghostmaker because the fact he's just like pulling one of the workers. This is someone Batman knew a long time ago, and he kicks his butt every single time.
I didn't like.
I was like,
character from
it's like a long lost brother, pretty much type.
It's another.
I mean, sometimes
past that nobody has ever heard.
Here's the thing: sometimes that's weak, but sometimes what'll happen is another writer down the road will take that baton and run with it. Once upon a time, Spider-Man went to a strange planet and found this black ball thing, and it turned into a costume, and that's like the hokiest thing. And then years later down the road, David Michelini and Todd McFarlane came up with this concept of Venom. In
all honesty, Daredevil, who once again Batman derivative, he was okay. He was never really, really popular, and then Frank Miller said, "Here, let me show you what you could do with the character." So yeah, I love it when there is a definitive run. Let me get back to the article here. And where do we go? Besides the first-hand accounts given to Perch from people he knows, the YouTuber also pointed to how quiet Marvel editors have been on Twitter as of late, particularly regarding their own personal politics and their social causes, as evidenced of the upcoming chain. I absolutely hope that this is right. I really do. But I've been here before, Perch. We've been here. We've done that. We heard the big foghorn sound of freedom and being able to be able to put your opinion out there without being called an ist or an ism. But you know what? We've been there already. So he goes on to say, he further contends that when you look at the social pages of Marvel staffers, their latest posts have been more benign than antagonistic, with only a few exceptions. And we know who that is, right? My fellow Slotophiles. From what he hears, that's no
How
accident.
Dare you call me such a
Perch says that it's a result of a directive from their superiors to stop it with the silliness. And he says we'll see more of this from far from guidelines. Perch asserts that comics companies could begin to respond to the Facebook and Twitter posts of their so-called creatives with potential legal consequences, and taking the noise and friction said social media activity attracts into account, consequently choose not to work with the outspoken comic pros. Okay, I will say this, from his mouth to God's ears, or to Marvel and DC's ears. I really hope that this actually does happen, because well, how about having a conversation? You know what, Dan Slott, how about having a conversation before you call someone racist? That is especially true, for instance, for anyone who would accuse another pro of belonging to a hate group or the fans. How about that? Or how about the fans? I mean, look, I understand who he's talking about, Ethan, on that one. But long before Ethan showed up to this particular party, Dan Slott, Gail Simone, Ron Mars, Jerry Conway, whatever you call him, they were attacking us. They were attacking the fans. A lot of times for either disagreeing with the direction of a character or just asking questions. The whole milkshake thing. Just a question asked made you a misogynist. Wait a second. I'm sorry. I missed out. I missed the tweet that caused all this big brouhaha. Where's the evidence that anybody did anything? Oh, you must hate women. The freaking hell did that come from? No,
what's really interesting is I'm wondering. Speaking of where's the tweet, what's going on with this new policy thing? Like, what happens today is so mild compared to what was happening in 2016 and 2017. That
is true.
I mean, literally, like, we had comics creators sending people pictures of their nether regions.
Yeah,
we had. I mean, people like Chuck Wendig would go on these vulgar, you just hadn't heard vulgarity like what Chuck Wendig would shout out on Twitter. It was awful. You were just mind-boggling. You're I can't see how this is happening. And DC tried to put we're doing a little, and they did. DC got a little bit better, but now it's I feel like I've taken so much abuse. Wait, someone said something bad? Wait, what?
I remember being tired. You talk about getting into a Twitter war. I remember being tired at the end of Milkshake Day. I was emotionally drained. It was everywhere. And we would talk about it on the videos. And if you went on Twitter, there was no other subject. And I remember by the end of that day, I was emotionally drained. I was just okay, I need to sit down and watch South Park or something stupid, something that's just going to kind of kill the brain cells and make you calm down. That was absolutely the day that shots were fired. That was the day that comic book creators declared war on comic book fans. Mm-hmm. And they never once, by the way, after that, considered talking to us to figure out, okay, what is the real difference here? Not once. I put my hand out there, guys, come on over. Hi, my name's Eglantine. Let's talk. I put myself out there so many freaking times trying to get one of these jackasses just to converse, just to find out what's really going on. It's so much easier for these people to say, well, they believe this, and then they start from the lie and they continue from there.
It's easier for them than never talk to, because then they can't be proven false. because they can deny. Well, I never talked to this person. I don't know who this person is. This person is trying to punch down on me. I'm thinking like, dude, you're like breaking from Marvel, DC. You're more popular. If anything, Dan Slott's popular because he's such a prick, not because he's good at writing Spider-Man. Because he sucks at writing Spider-Man. That's what he's famous for ruining the character.
Let's see what we got. Read Peter J. Tomasi. Oh, that's Ash telling people read Peter J. Tomasi Superman. Absolutely 100% agree with that.
Someone had said, sorry to interrupt, someone had said in the chat, or I was asking, like, they weren't real familiar with Jonathan Kent.
So Rhaegar. Yeah,
if you do want to get a little bit of familiarity in the Rebirth era, Peter J. It's a great, probably best Superman run in 20 years. Great. All family stuff. Superman dealing with having a 10-year-old kid, and trying to be a father in addition to also being Superman. Really well told. You get this relationship with Damian, who I know a lot of fans hated, including myself, but you get this troubled child, and you get this like kid, Jonathan Kent, who's like a positive growth, like role model on him. And they formed this book, Super Sons, to like explore that. And it's just a really fun book. Tomasi writes both of them. Patrick Gleason does the art on Superman. Jorge Jimenez does the art on Superman or the Super Sons. It's utterly fantastic. And if you go and read that series, and then you look at what's going on today, it's like night and day. You'd be like, I can't, I just can't even. I don't understand.
Yeah, you'd start with that guess. And the Super Sons 2017 run, and then go into Challenge of the Super Sons, which just recently just ended the same day in a different book that John comes out.
No, you go into Adventures of the Super Sons, then Challenge of the Super Sons.
Hey, you can read all three of them.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a later bridge. You start in the beginning. Superman, it's just a great run. It's a great representation of Superman.
With what's going on with the fact that here is Perch doing a video that I did 2 years ago, 3 years ago, however long it was. He's doing, this is the same thing we're talking about. I'm wondering, can I just get my old videos and re-record them so the sound is better, so it's a little modernized, and just redo them? I mean, come on. This is
Note
ridiculous.
to self, copy Engelteen's videos.
There you go. Yes, obviously. that man's getting thousands of views on each video that I did a long time ago.
To be fair, Perch does about 1 million videos, so the chances of him crossing over someone else's.
Oh no! This whole train got rolling because there was a video that that both Captain Cummings and I did, and it was on the same topic. It was on the same video. NerdSync did something. I was actually really thinking about re-recording that video, but we actually said the same things all the way up to about the halfway mark, and then we kind of diverged. But it kind of made me think, wait a second, there's a community out there. So I made a video about the fact that there is a community of people here that are very much not in love with the whole social justice warrior in comics thing. And that was what got the ball rolling on the YouTube stuff.
And I hate to interrupt you for a second. Miss still brings up a point. You should be just guest on Purchase. So I think you guessed on it recently in the year.
No. It was last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah.
I thought you went on with Eric.
Yeah, I went on with Eric, and I was really quiet because I'm very self-conscious now. During Yellow Flash's rant about me, he said that I'm loud and I take over anybody's live streams. So now I'm very aware of it. So I'll wait until I'm asked a question, but in all honesty, I don't want to do that ever again. So I don't go on a lot of people's live streams too much, because if I do, I want to be me, and I talk a lot. That's why I like having this.
Sir, you just need to expose yourself on other people's channels. You'll get publicity.
Yeah, I'll get arrested. Yeah. But no, it's okay. I would love to go on Perch's show. I like him. I like Perch. I like Wes. I was on his once. Now Nerdette, she asked me to be on, but we've never. I think she's trying to find a topic, because I consider her a friend. I know that we don't see eye to eye on the John Kent thing. She's commented on the videos and such like that. Maybe that could be the subject. Nerdy, if you're listening, maybe that could be the subject. We could talk about diversity versus tokenism. I've been talking about this particular subject. You were wondering, like, what am I an expert on? To me, I know a hell of a lot about comics, but I never considered myself an expert on any one thing. I'm more of a jack of all trades. Like Doug Ernst loves Spider-Man. He is an expert on Spider-Man. Somebody might be more of an expert on the TMNT. I know a lot about both, but I can't say I'm an expert on any. So yeah. Let's see. Teeny Howard has never written a good story. She only serves to be put on a series to have them canceled, says Almighty Jack. Glinzer's calling me Loudentine. But I would love to go on Purchase Show, talk about this or whatever. What we ended up talking about, I remember it was more of what's coming out, what do you think kind of thing. Like he showed, oh, this Tuesday these books are coming out or something like that.
That's another thing I know you need to get back into. I personally, I love doing it. What are you excited about? What's coming out weekend? I know, and
yeah,
I'm not talking about the Marvel DC. I'm talking about, because there's a lot of other companies. There's Boom Studio, Image. There's
one thing I learned though is comics don't sell videos around here, and independent comics sell less. By the way, I read it. I am going to do a reading review of it. I might actually, if y'all want to see it live, we can do a live reading and review it. What it means is I will stop and talk about what comes up. But I would say at the very least it's a curiosity read, so check that out.
There's a frog that has a channel too. You can go on and discuss books.
No.
Yeah.
MKSA, random question here. Isn't there a universe where Superman lands in Gotham and becomes Batman? Yes, it's called Speeding Bullets, and it is amazing. I highly recommend it. There is something that I was going, okay, what else can be talked about? I might do a full-on video about this because I haven't seen it. But in this crowd, we all at least respect Chuck Dixon. If we don't particularly like him, I know everybody here respects him.
Who doesn't like Chuck Dixon?
I can't imagine who would not.
Can't either.
The man is Batman, in my opinion.
I can guess. DC
Comics doesn't like him. So Jack diagnoses why DC and Marvel comic books suck. Former DC. Okay, that's just the introduction. Dixon's comments came in, and it's okay. Oh, it's another video that I haven't seen yet. Let's see. Why does it seem like all writers know how to do with established characters as deconstruction story? Oh, okay. You know what? I'm going to turn this off and I'm going to talk about this right here. I don't necessarily want to have his opinion before we have ours. Basically, I don't know if you guys watched the video or not, but I haven't yet. One of the things we've talked about. This is another one. I made this video 4 years ago. When they were tearing, not 4 years ago, but a few years back, when Kelly Sue DeConnick decided to destroy Aquaman. We're going to deconstruct Aquaman and find out what makes him tick. We've been through this already. We've been there. We've done that.
They want to deconstruct them so they can reconstruct them the way they want.
No, they don't. That's the big problem with this. You want to know why Marvel and DC sucks? I haven't seen
whenever
Chuck
deconstruction
Dixon.
happens, it's not with the purpose of then reconstructing them to who they were, where they're more stronger and understand.
They say it's like what's going on with Batman right now, where they get rid of the money because we want to bring him back to his roots. They're deconstructing him, but they never build them back up, because what ends up happening is Tynion leaves the book. Here comes another one. Oh, we're going to deconstruct Batman. Okay, they leave the book. Here comes another. We're going to deconstruct. They never find the core that they say they're going to bring him back to. The whole point of deconstruction is to find out what makes them tick and then build them back into the hero that they should be. It's the illusion of change that Stan Lee likes to talk about. But at the very least, the reader, by the end of this deconstruction, should understand who and what these characters truly are and truly stand for. Ash, you wanted to say something.
I contend that it's not actually deconstruction that's happening. I think a lot of these modern writers they claim that's what they're doing, and they may actually believe that's what they're doing, like Tom King, but they're not in effect. If you actually read some of these books, like I'll use Tom King as an example, he's not actually deconstructing anything. What he's actually doing is just destructing. He's just breaking things down. But deconstruction is to sort of like take things apart and see how it all works, and you still have a semblance of what it actually is that you're working with. It's like a machine with, and its parts are just separated. You can kind of go, okay, this can be put back together. What they do is they just go in and just drop a bomb, blow it all up, and it's just not recognizable when they're done. And he did this on his Supergirl series. He did it on a Strange Adventure series. I don't even know what the Rorschach thing was. Heroes in Crisis. He just goes in there and just bomb. If you go back and you look at like Alan Moore, who's a master of deconstruction, and you look at like say Watchmen is probably one of the most popular things. That's real deconstruction, and he didn't deconstruct actual heroes. He just deconstructed the mythology of heroes, but you could see it the whole time. You could understand. Oh, this is interesting. I'm kind of seeing it from the inside out. What they're doing today, they just don't know what they're doing, and they think like, oh yeah, I read a book once back, and I can do that. No, you can't. No, you can't. You just don't know what you're doing, and you're covering it up with this idea of, oh, I'm just deconstructing. That's what I'm doing. No, you're not. You don't know what you're doing, and that's why it all doesn't make sense at the end. And it's all, when Kelly Sue DeConnick left Aquaman, you're like, what the hell is this? This isn't Aquaman anymore.
Yeah, there were like a couple issues I read of her run that I was like, oh wow, okay, this is not horrible. I'll see what happens. And then 2 issues later, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm done. It's like one of those comedy movies where they jump into the pond only to find out it was sewage water. Ugh.
I just want to address what did Quinn saying about Donny Cates and stuff, and saying how he says, when I hear people that want Cates for DC, I say, hell no, another deconstruction story. Venom or Thor is the same story. It's because he created his own little world involving characters. That's why they're necessarily the same story, but they're necessarily not. They're different as far as Thor, but it is connected though.
Let me get this here. Thank you very much to Glenzer, who was saying that Superman kiss is the prevalent image online. Are hetero characters shown in intimate situations as often as homosexual characters seem to be? I don't know if they're highlighted like that. There was an issue of Captain Marvel not too long ago. I actually liked the cover. The story, not so much, but the cover was okay. Captain Marvel goes on the dating scene. You don't see her interacting with any of the guys, but they're all a whole bunch of guys like showing up to date her. I don't know if I've seen too many guy-girl kisses on covers recently anyway. My favorite, of course, being the Superman Big Barda cover, but we know what's going on there.
One thing I've noticed is, in line with that questioning, is just in general in the past 10 years, not just with the homosexuality being prevalent as far as like displays of affection, it seems just in general sexuality is more prevalent. I mean, if for those of us, if we were reading Superman when Bendis kind of interrupted, crashed the party, and they had to drop both Jurgen's book and Tomasi's book, and was just like, yeah, Bendis is here now, and he took over both books. Immediately, all of a sudden, we're like seeing every issue shots of Lois and Superman in the bedroom. Like, oh, it was obvious they just had sex,
Yeah, I remember when it was shocking that Robin and Starfire were in bed in issue number 1 of the Baxter issues of Teen Titans. You're right. I think you nailed it. And this is something because one of the things that are brought up, if you ever argue with a comic book artist or writer about how you want a female-looking Captain Marvel or She-Hulk to go back to the way She-Hulk should be, feminine, basically is what we're saying. If you want a feminine female character, they always bring up your masturbatory habits. They always say the only reason why you want that character to look female is you want to jack off to it.
And I would
it kills me that they seem so interested. The people who, you're right, have brought out superhero sexuality so much more than the people they're saying are freaking spider monkeys over a cartoon image. Now, I'm not going to say I've never in my entire life, especially in my teenage years, looked at a comic book character and went, whoa, okay. You know, Captain Marvel, I've got a video where I admitted about Monica Rambeau on the boat where she shows off the bikini bod. And yes, Tigra caused a whole bunch of us to have a lot of confused feelings because at one hand, wow, sexy. On the other hand,
yeah, she's a cat.
Yeah. So look, it does happen, but no, that's not the reason. The reason is for some reason, femininity is being erased. And they think that the only reason you want to bring it back is because you want it to be sexual. At the same time, like Ash said, they're the ones that are bringing sex into it.
Yeah, I don't read comics for sexuality. I get it. Lois and Superman had sex. That's how they made a son. I'm a grown man. I know how the birds and the bees work. But I'm reading Superman for Superman stories, not to be like, oh, look, I wrote him in bed again, like constantly in your face. Like, okay, yeah. It just feels more creepy from the creator side. Like,
it really does.
Constantly need to be putting that in there. And like, these are supposed to be books for kids.
And to address something Twitless is saying, I love that you know exactly the issue. That's because, no, seriously, it was a big deal to show Robin in bed with Starfire. That was what people were talking about.
Yeah, you didn't used to show characters in bed together.
Yeah,
that was
definitely not characters from a book called the Teen Titans.
Also,
yeah, and it was displays of affection were just very like you would see them like Sue and Reed got married. Oh, they kissed, of course. Peter and Mary Jane, of course, they kissed. But the books weren't focusing on the fact that they had, you know, they didn't focus on the physical displays of affection. It focused on the other parts, like comic stories. I don't know. It's just weird. It'd be like going back and watching episodes of Leave It to Beaver, and it's like, oh, look, there's the bedroom scene of Warden, you know. It's like, what?
Right.
Why
VENKMAN
is this here?
For more information on Engleteen's episode of Accounting Things, go to Extreme Movie Show and check out the Halloween movies and the slashers, the boob counts that him and Rob did. There's a pattern forming here. Comics?
Yeah, that is true. I for a little bit, my reputation was that even before the internet, I was kind of like Mr. Skin, where somebody would bring up an actress and I would be like, oh, okay, you can find them naked in this movie. It's kind of near the middle, you know. So, yes, for a while I was the, before the internet, I was Mr. Skin with all my friends. And
Did you work at, well, you worked at a movie theater, I guess. Yeah,
yeah I
was going to say, like, if you worked at a video store, I'd call you Randall Graves.
There you go. Well, it's kind of like that. Yeah. I worked in a movie theater and I had to view the movies before we put it out. So I saw damn near everything that was released in Orlando, in the greater Orlando area that came out in the 90s. So I knew all these movies. Plus I would watch classics. I would watch all the movies from the past and just go, oh, okay. Yeah. Maureen O'Hara actually did get naked in The Creature from the Black Lagoon. You know, it just pop in. So yeah, skin gleam teen. There you go.
It's England Teen After Dark.
That's it. It's a
England Teen Max.
Yeah. Speaking of movies and shows, England Teen, have you seen Chucky or the new Halloween yet? I have not yet seen Halloween. I am on a freeze until my wife has a night off. Yeah, because she loves the Halloween. So
we're going to be reviewing that this Sunday.
So I better get to it, right?
You want to join us? You better.
I would love to, but I'm just not going to have a chance unless
Gail, I gotta go. Damn it.
I better make sure Basic Instinct is working correctly. Actually, no, that was my job. I had to make sure everything was good. The weird thing about Basic Instinct is, you know how uncomfortable it is to watch Basic Instinct with your parents? I watched it with my grandparents. They were, my grandfather couldn't go anywhere at that point in time. and so he didn't like to go out in crowds and everything. He was just, it was very hard for him to move, and I had the keys to a movie theater. So they mentioned, oh, we want to see Basic Instinct. Okay, we watched. We were there for the opening scene. It was like, okay, we're not watching this.
So here's a question for science. If you leave a scene pause in the theater in the reel, does it burn out that part?
I'm sorry, what?
You're watching a movie with the reels, back in the 80s, in the theater, If you have it too long on one scene, does that burn an image?
Yeah, but you don't let it do that. When I first learned how to be a projectionist, I was doing the reel-to-reels, where you would have two projectors, and when one reel was done, you would have it over here, and then you would put it, and you would back and forth. By the time, though, I got out, they were using a platter system. So you would load the entire movie onto one big platter, and it would feed through the projector and then onto another platter where it was ready to go. And so you never actually had to worry about stopping and starting it. If that happened, what happened was if it stopped, something jammed, and the movie is filling up in the area that it's supposed to go into. So that rarely happens. Yeah.
So you have to worry about it, with pausing it when you're in the theater.
Well, now, no, you can't pause it, and not without turning off the freaking machine. And if you pause it the way you're talking about, that means the shield is, I forgot what it was called. It's been 20 something years, but there's a shield you can put over so it blocks the lamp, the xenon bulb, from burning your movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what Venkman you're referring to is kind of like when it would jam more than be paused.
Yeah.
That's where I've ever witnessed it. Like,
no, I was making a pervert joke. People, when you pause.
You couldn't do that. No, you cannot do that. There you go. Anyway, gang, on that note, since we kind of derailed from the conversation a bit, I have to go. Gail and the kids are getting off work, and I borrowed the car tonight to go to the comic shop and pick up some big dogs for the auction this week, which I might as well show off a little bit, huh? There we go. Let me
Yeah, spit in your grave and you see in the theater and you see the junk scene. Yeah, that's like forgetting Sarah Marshall. I don't want to see it. I don't care if it's in a horror movie or what. I don't want to see that.
Well, that actually the reason why you wouldn't see male genitalia is because that's how it's written in the laws on the MPA. What it says is you could get an X rating for showing genitalia, right? So you can have a full frontal of a woman because, back in the day anyway, because you would have 70s bush, and it would actually cover up the genitalia. With a man, if your bush can cover up your genitalia, you got two problems. One, you need clippers.
Sir, how long did it take you to research this?
What do you mean? I've worked in a movie theater forever and a day. I know all sorts of stuff about shit like that. But yeah, that's actually one of the things that they judged a movie to be X-rated or something. So you could actually have an X-rated movie that wasn't a porn film.
It was funny though. Like
Midnight Cowboy was X-rated, and it only had language.
You could do all that, but they're like, oh, we can't show the front. Well, this shows Stallone's ass 20 times for every film.
Yeah, that did happen. All right, the big dogs. Hold on. Let me see. God dang it! Come on. I managed to find an excellent copy here of this. I wish I could. I had the first issue, but this is the second issue of The Witching Hour, and if you look right there, it is beautiful. I mean, this is a really nice. It's hard to get good copies of a black cover like this. There you go. And then we've got the second appearance of Metamorpho. Once again, awesome copy of this. This is Brave and the Bold 58. All right, and then my favorite, and once again, very good copy of Ghosts #1. So that's going to be in the auction on Saturday. So come visit us for that. And yeah, other things as well. So I do have to get going. Tomorrow we're going to be doing another reading of some sort of Golden Age or Silver Age, maybe even Bronze Age villain, or like iZombie or something. Somebody, Dominic wanted us to do Creature Commandos. All right, maybe we could do that. I've done a Comic Book Origin. I know it's a fun book, so. Let's see. There you go. Wait, put that on a shirt. Wait, what are we doing? Let's see. Anyway, there you go, gang. Thanks for hanging out with us. Join us tomorrow around 10 o'clock where we do our weekly first appearance Fridays, and we do a reading of comics. I would love to. I think Creature Commandos. That'd be all right? You want to do that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do Creature Commandos then. Should be fun. We need a Frankenstein, a Dracula, mummy, werewolf. So there's a lot of stuff to do. Once again, thank you to Ash Loves Comics or Ash on Comics. We got the real Dr. Venkman, Dominic Powell, and the Evil Black Cats. And thank you very much, and have a good night, gang. Thank you very, very much for watching.